Russell Scott from scottcarvings.com, and what I plan to do today is do my rough out. It's at this time is a brand new rough out. It is the I want to say toy store manager carving from my book From Undercover Santas that's out there. This is what is in the video. Let me bring the light out back a little bit more here. There you go. And this is what we're gonna. Well, I'm not gonna do this version. It's getting a little closer to this version. It's a cross between the two. I'm gonna do a Santa. The thing that's different with this Santa, of course, is that it's a Santa an at the North Pole Santa instead of an undercover Santa, and he's got a bottle of cola. So I'm going to do more like him, except he's still going to have, he's still going to have a, I want to call it a cigar. I'll call it a cigar, like he's got a cigar, but it's a candy cane there. And in my book here of the Undercover Santa, it shows you the two varieties I just showed you. And I showed you how to, actually this is more of how to do the cigar hand. It's all that I really show in this. Oh, look at that. It comes with cookies. Ooh. Anyways, let's get going and get the shine or reflection off of it here. This is for my Carving the Undercover Santas at Fox Chapel. Do check it out if you don't have a copy already. It's got all kinds of the varieties. It's got the librarian Santa, checking out the kids at the library, and then there's the postman Santa, and he's going door to door, and there's a chef Santa. He's always feeding the kids. There's a basketball coach Santa. This one here is more of an African American Santa. And there's the librarian, and there was a if I can get there, he has the snowboard Santa going down the snowboard. He's checking the kids out, making sure they're not naughty but nice. Park Ranger Santa, Chef Santa. The Chef Santa is more of a not only is a bust, it's kind of more of the face study. So it gets a lot of pictures from step by step of the faces, but we're going to get right into carving don't mind the morning sun. It's morning, early morning. I'll try to shift this a little better if it gets a little too obnoxious or too, in fact, maybe if we go like this. Now we can zoom in just a little better. But before we begin, let's go through the array of tools. I'll have the knife. I have this is, I don't know what this is. It's a somebody's knife. I've seen it, I've showed it before. It's just a long knife. This is good for rough outs and so on. So it's a good 2 and whatever. It's a good 2-inch blade. Then I got a nice Helvie knife. Now the Helvie, I've used Helvies before. I think I showed you in the last one how this is Helvie number 2. So it's called the rough out knife. And here's, after using it so many times and grinding it down, I keep this as a good, if you really got to dig in there, it's a good dig in there knife. So I keep that around. And if you see all my old videos, it is with that knife, and it just, you can see it gets smaller and smaller. So there are the knives. Chisels are the standard V tool. Oh, I don't know. This is a, where's my millimeters? Do they call that a 6 millimeter? Oh, so you can see. I'm trying to see if I can see 6 millimeter. I don't know. I think that's what they call a 60-degree. Excuse me. Being morning, I just finished breakfast. And this one, now I may or may not use it. More than likely I won't, but I'll just have it. So it's, this is a good rough out tool when you're starting from a cutout. And this is like a 23 millimeter number 5. I really like this tool. This is it's a good clean tool too when you're going to rough out rough out a cutout. And then now my bunch of tools, chisels, pardon me. This is a number 5. This one I'll probably use to get into funny places. May or may not use it, and it is about a 6 millimeter, no, 7 millimeter, 8 millimeter. 8 millimeter. This one will probably get more into the eyes, the face. This is a number 9. That is about a 7 millimeter. Also into the eyes, number 9, about a 3 millimeter. And also in the eyes and other places, number 9 at about 9 millimeter. You know, it's kind of hard to describe. Where do you get your tools from? I don't know. I got a tool guy, or a couple of tool guys, as a matter of fact, when I go to the shows, and I look at the tools, and I pick it up, and I say, oh yeah, I think I need that one, because like that one got away from me, so I need another one. And you know, for your beginners, oh goodness, I just don't know. I mean, like I said, Helvy is probably one of the best. Go to the helvy.com or Helvy Knife. As a matter of fact, go to their blog site. Not only do they, go to their Facebook site. And not only do they have the Facebook, but they also have people come in and do some videos. So you get some free videos from the folks from Helvy. It's probably one of the best knives. Another one is a Stew by Chris Willock. Stew buys. Now flex cuts, I do have flex cuts for smaller. I don't think I'll ever get into them in this here. You know, some nice small flex cuts are good. I've had their knife. Their knife is okay. It's just once you get into it, you just keep carving and you like it. Another one, if you're a beginner, I want to say a Murphy's knife. Let me put my finger over this. So this one here is a wood craft, but it's called a Helvy. There's another it's called a Murphy knife. I'm sorry, it's Murphy. Where's the other one? Oh, I can't find it. Anyways, it looks much like this. This is actually a wood craft. But this one here is my detail knife because it's been worn so much. That's what you like to have when you get into the details and picking is something like this. And a lot of places to go is, if you belong to clubs, is that when somebody wants to sell their knives or trade, you know, I hate to say it, when somebody passes away and the spouse is there to sell it or, you know, pass it on to other wood carvers. That's one of the benefits of being with a with a club. All right, let's begin here. I could get these close enough. Well, here, let's get this out of the way. Now this one I may not, so I'll push that. This one for sure. These are the main tools right now. Let's move this a little forward a bit, or should I put it down? All right, what I want to do, I think I'll widen it just a bit if that'll help. No, widen the other way. Your other widen. Get that out of the way. As I have always mentioned in all my videos and all my classes, the first thing you do when you have a rough out is you take your pencil, which I neglect to mention, that is a #1 tool, and you start going along the creases, and that's what we're going to do. This hand I want to leave open. Now, if you're going to do the Coca-Cola, you're going to drill a huge hole or carve out a large hole. And this, now this Coca-Cola, he's, where's my ruler here? Just take a block of wood and that is going to be just a little more than a half, so like the 5/8. 5/8 wide by about 1.75 inches-ish. And it's just kind of shaped like somewhat shaped like a Coca-Cola bottle. Now, you don't have to have it as long because it's going to be in his hand. So you don't know, you think it's probably, because since it's in his hand, he's going to hold on to it so you get the impression it's down here. The cigar is that the fingers is going to be open a little bit. Unfortunately, I did kind of goof that up. I had to glue it back together. I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to do the cigar part. But I'm going to do the Santa at the workshop part for another reason. Okay, let's put there's the pocket, hand in pocket, pardon me. And what's going to happen here is that the tufts, I always call it the tufts, the fur, what is it called? The trim, because he's going to have a Santa trim. Like I said, there's some anomalies on this wood. That's what I like to do, is show you with something that has anomalies, because I don't want to send these to customers if possible. Now this is going to come in here like this, and the hair is going to come like this. I've said many times, and I'll say it again, is that the reason why we want to start with this is that, and we're going to V cut that out, unless you want to, if you want to, some of the stuff you can V cut out without putting any pencils. Now we're going to have this beard is going to come along here, because I still want to have, you don't have to put this in, I'm just going to eyeing it a little bit, because now he's tilted. I'll talk to you about that in about a minute here. And he's got the trims. Let me move this back a little more. Yep. I want to put this where it's most comfortable, because I'll start carving and then I'll just keep going, and all of a sudden I'm off the screen. So it's better to annoy you right now moving things around than going off the screen. And this is going to come down like this. Already coming off the screen. A little more. Now, you'll notice that this is bulging right here, and the reason why it's bulging is that's where his hand is. So I'll just put kind of a pen. You don't have to put the chisel to it. It's just a reminder that make sure all you're going to do is you're just going to clean this off. You're not going to dig and make it like this one here, that his hand is not in the pockets. That's all leg right there. And you'll notice that he's got this stance where his right foot is back a little farther from his left foot. And when we get into the feet, well, like I said, we're going to just we're going to just take some of this. I think I might want to go even farther back. We're just taking the fur off of it. Now I want to make sure I got plenty of room here. And don't play with the hand yet. I'll put this in just for you to not play with that, because what's going to happen is we're going to, when we get close, you can clean it just a little bit, just barely touch it, but we want to keep the roundness of it. And what we're going to do is we're going to drill, because I got the thumb is in there too. Make sure we got enough for the thumb. The thumb is actually a little farther down. Now you can probably V-tool, we'll V-cut a little bit that to make sure that we just don't get too, carve happy and trying to eye it. So, I mean, there's probably more here than what we need, which is better. Because what we're going to do first when we get into the hand is drill the hole. And then you carve the hand around it. Okay, I think I got everything below, and got plenty to smooth the head. There's a lot of head. Now, the face I'm going to keep to the end, but I'm going to draw this in. Now, this particular run, I don't know why this run, it kind of looks like it's got this little extra, what do I want to call it, mountain, that almost looks like he's looking straight up, and that's not right. He's tilting, his head is tilted. Now his head is tilted. Now his head is way tilted. He's way swayed back. And that's what we want. We want a nice sway to him. And this one, what I just did is probably a more sharper sway, because for some reason, every time you turn the head, for me, I don't know, a lot of people too, is you turn the head, or you tilt the head or whatever. As you're carving, all of a sudden the head just starts moving back, and all of a sudden you got the head looking straight at you. Now we know that this is swayed by the cheeks here. Now I'm putting this, like I said, I'm putting this in, but don't play with the head right now. And we will a bit later here. Right now we want to get our, like I said, get the fur off first. I think we're ready for step number 2. What I want to do now is to put on my chisel glove. Like I said, it's a glove that you can, it's like a garden glove. You don't have to spend a lot of money on it, get it at a dollar store. The reason why I like to put the chisel glove on is because, when you start chiseling and sure, make sure this hand is out of the way, but every once in a while I would, hit, and the cuticles would be really upset. So let us begin. Like I said, I want to get careful not to get around the hand. Now this, I still put this in. This is one of those details, but I like to put that crease in because it helps me round the arms a little better. And even though I am chiseling towards myself, I am using my wrist. I'm not using my arm to push. If I was using my arm, I'd be like this, and then it would hit me. So far, I think this is a pretty decent piece of wood. I want to commit to the thumb. And I'll put a little more there. And like I always say, is that there it goes to the beard. One thing good about the beard is imperfect. Therefore, you can use some of the beard. And this is going to come up like this. And this is going to come around, holding hand out of the way. But that's what I'm doing, is these little cuts. There we go. Smooth cuts. Leaving that alone. Just remember that that is his hand. Let me see. Can we move in a little bit more? Let's see. Can we? And see if I can make myself comfortable enough so that it'll stay in there. Let me get this glove back on. My S9 just cannot, it's not sense enough for my glove, so I had to take the glove off. Now the thing about this being a rough, we're roughing it out, it's already roughed out and we're doing the first rough out, is I don't have to worry too much about being too clean with the cuts. We're just getting started. Let's see, what did I get in there? I think I got in there. I definitely want to get in here nice and clean. Get in here, separate the two legs. A little bit of the feet here. Like I said, we'll get to shaping the feet a little later. There. Is this the time to tell a story or something? Usually I watch TV, and when I watch TV, I like to watch the repeats or something, because my mind is not going to stray on the TV. I don't watch TV, I listen to TV. And we like to watch some nice little whodunits, and it's kind of hard to carve and watch a whodunit and try to think about all the elements. Anyways, it's important to keep your tools sharp, especially when we get into the fur cleaning portion of this. While we're here, I'll get this here. So we just kind of had to, my wife and I get into the Santa carvings, and I'm trying to think, one of us had the idea, I don't remember who had the idea, but having this idea of the undercover Santa, because he is, you wonder how Santa knows if you're naughty or nice, or the children are naughty or nice. Well, you too. And it's because he's out there. And in the book I have a couple of stories in there about my past and how it makes sense even to me, where Santa is just around the corner. I guess I'm going to leave that alone. I guess I can just at least give it a little bit of just so you know the difference. Just not too deep on this. And I'm gonna like I said, I'm gonna leave that for now. Now to take the knife, take the cuticle gloves off, and begin. I can start with the hair. This is always start with the bigger part to get the feel. I'm sorry, I don't know if this camera picked it up. The sound of one of those solid balls, rubber balls bouncing down the stairs from upstairs. I got a cat who just loves to play with those. The you know, the ones that the thick ones, or the sturdy rubber ball that you'd throw and it would bounce pretty high. And once in a while, I have a couple of them up there, and then as time goes on, you can just hear the ball bounce, 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 bounce. Here it comes. Now, at this time that I'm doing this is winter time. As a matter of fact, it's January, and it is kind of a pain in the neck to have where it just sticks. Get out of there. Sticks. Get out of there. So you'll see a lot of that. And we're just skinning. And it's best if you can. Like I said, well, the hair is imperfect, like I said. And even though I had given this a sharp, but there's still a little bit of marks on there that's just bugging me. I mean, it's a nice sharp knife, but I got it so that I think I took them off. Make bigger strikes, bigger cuts instead of little cuts. Even though that, like I said, the hair is imperfect, it doesn't matter, but practice on longer. Now it's taking more off. Pull back, push, and take more off. Now, there are times and places that it's difficult, but when you get to some of these flat edges, there's a little bit of anomaly there, but I'll be painting the hair, that'll disappear. So this is at this time, this is a brand new carving, a brand new rough out that I made. So you are actually looking at the go by right there. The picture that this comes with is this very carving. Now I like to take my rough outs after I get them, they come with that little knob. Oops, it's getting kind of shortcuts there. The knob that's on top, I like to cut that off for the customers there for two reasons. Well, the main reason is so you don't have to mess with it, and that is that. Let me see if I get my other. This one here is. I like to want to get more meat on it. There we go. Is that especially in our classes, and I'm teaching, and then I waste too much time. You know, we gotta get to the important stuff. Like the eyes and the hands and stuff like that, that we have to waste so much time cutting that nub off. I don't know, see, when I ship it, listen, your knees also need, if it's fits in the box better. A little cheaper in postage. I don't know. But probably another reason why they're fitting my boxes better. I'm going to keep this knife and I'm going to come down like this. And I'm just cleaning the edges here because, again, the hair is imperfect and we're going to be doing all kinds of things with the tips of the hair, and that's much later. And when I'm cutting to myself, I got that my thumb in the way so it doesn't slip. And I am cutting down. No, not as much here. That fell off. Like I said, I don't want to do, I just want to clean. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay, let's go here. Well, I got this knife. I want to do this one here. I just like when there's more, this one here, when there's more meat to cut. I think I'm getting a little bit into the carving part there. Like I said, I'll be cleaning that up much later. Right now, and I don't want to get too deep. One thing that I'm still working on is when I'm cutting deep, I don't want to put too much energy down on the tip, because what's going to happen is that it's going to dig in there, and as soon as we start putting the tips in, then right where my finger is you'll see a cut mark, and you got to dig that out. So that's what I want to do, is not to do that. Let's get my cleaning knife. The Helvie is a much thinner knife. I really like it. But again, check out Helvie's Facebook. Not only they'll have the latest, I'm sure, in their products. They got some very interesting little chisels. It's much like, let's see, it's much like this one. I mean, I'm talking about the tip though. I mean, they got the Helvie handle, you know, the wood for the handle. But it's really interesting, it gets in there. And they have a nice demonstration of that. And again, Helvie's Facebook, you have a lot of free videos on how to carve. And while I'm on it, talk about the International Wood Carving Association. Check out their Facebook. And then we have a Zoom video every Saturday at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, 2 o'clock Central, that's me. Matter of fact, I did a demonstration there, and a lot of others. You got some wood carving, or some Character Carvers of America are there, and they've done some demonstration, and they're sitting in too. So it's kind of interesting here with the big guys there and ladies. And every Saturday, they have somebody doing a demonstration. Now some do demonstrations, actually pick up the knife and away you go. Others might just sit and talk about things. Either which way, I'm good with the talking too, because I'm at that stage where I want to understand where they're coming from. Where do they, and I'll pick up a piece and I'd like to know what the heck was in their mind. Oop, I'm getting a little too deep with the tool here. Shouldn't be doing that. I don't want to do this. I shouldn't. I got carried away. And I think, what the heck is in their mind when they come up with this stuff? You know, how do they see it? I'm at the stage in my wood carving, I would say, life, where I just like to do original. But at this time, matter of fact, in the near future, I'm going to take a lot of the roughouts I purchased earlier and just get them done. And all the other things that I've learned from the other character carvers of America. There's some good Floyd Radigan roughouts and Mr. Green. What was his first name? Oh, that's not good. And I got a couple of the old the Bishops roughouts. Got a few of them. Get them done. Just want to get them done. They're just sitting there collecting dust. But as of recent, I've been getting more into the character carving, and I could use those to kind of understand. Like I said, I just want to clean this up a little bit, so when we get into the hand, we don't have to worry about that. The cleaning up, we just want to get into the hand. Oh, that's sticking. Oh, that's sticking. This is kind of a bad area here. So I'm going to stop right there. Where did my, oh, there it go. There it went. Get back to feet, cutting that out. Just cleaning the hand a piece there. Not getting too deep with the edge. I think I'm starting to drift some more. I'm going to leave all of that for right now. Just get out of there, okay? Working our way down. I can tell that there's still a lot of cleaning to do after I've left, but I'll get back to that when I start doing more detail. Again, I want to take the knife and my bigger knife. I have no idea what that is, knife. Now I'm going to keep this knife doing this because, oops. Just about took a good hunk off of there. Careful. Watch the direction of the grain, because I'm going to need this to... Now there's one thing you could do. I learned this from one of the character carvers, is that when you're at the tufts of the Santa, you could, instead of wasting your time cutting and coming back, is that you could take your, well, I'll just take the knife and, like I like to do, is the scooping. Or take any kind of your favorite round tools, or whatever you do. And here we're just taking care of, in fact, I think it'd be better if I use this one here. There go, better bend to it. In fact, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to finish. So you're finishing and cleaning at the same time. Now you could start putting in wrinkles in too, of wrinkles in the clothing, but you still got a little bit of the fur you got to clean. But consider that, I mean, some even would get right into there. Now, if you're the kind of guy carver, pardon me, who is getting into the, or just simply use your chisel to, you might want to use your chisel instead of, and here, let's see if it gets like here. And so you're actually getting the hair in. I mean, I use the knife to give, what I do is I like to take my knife and then come back with the chisel. So either which way, I think I'll go with this route. I mean, since I brought it up, let's finish it. We can end up finishing the tufts here by just doing that. Oops. I probably can get my bigger knife, can I? Keep going in this angle here. Am I still in? Basically, oops. See, now we got the marks off, the fur off, and I think we might be even done with that part of it. The bad thing about chips that linger is, I found, and I'm sure you have too, is when a chip is sitting there and then you put your knife down and you push, and it's right on the chip, and it just skates right across, and hopefully your finger's out of the way when it skates. Oops. That just did a little bit of what I was just talking about. Make sure you scoop. Yeah, we're done with this part. Wish I would have remembered it when I started with what did I do that tough? Yes, I did. Oh, excuse me. While we're at it, just so in other words, however you do your tufts, your trims, you do that instead of cleaning. And you're finishing and cleaning at the same time, so you don't have to come back to it. You don't have to come back to this later. Oh, here's some more here. Yeah, I mean, depends on how you want to do the trim. What tool do you want to use? If you usually use the chisel, use the chisel to clean at the same time. It's a good thing I remembered that. Let me get a few more chips in there. In fact, that's how I do that. That's all I care to do. See, the fur could, I don't want the fur to come back to it is Old Sam Peabody o'clock. It is white-throated sparrow o'clock, which is 10 o'clock here, 10 a.m. So we're getting back. Cleaning. We will be putting some. Now this one does not have too much of a suit. If you had one that had a, I want to call it a skirt, you know, coat where it comes down. Oh, I don't have one handy where it comes all the way down. Then maybe what you want to do is get your bigger tools, and that's what it's going to usually end up with is make these so it's not as flat, so it waves. You can do that also on your roughouts if you have roughouts that have that. I think I got some roughouts that have that. So be careful not pushing down too much. I think I did. Wasn't paying attention. Just enough to take that out of there. Is all I care about. I will get into the shadowing and the creasing and all that later. Get out of there. He's getting clean. Now I get to see. I'm going to have to trim when we get to carving this. I got to trim this. This is a little wider than the other side. I'll have to remember that. Okay, what other stories can I say while I'm doing this, this boring part here of just cleaning and cleaning? Well, of course, the good thing about once you're clean, I'm gonna get that out of there. That kind of got away from me here. Come on, get out of there. I would have cleaned it later, but it's just bothering me. Is that, where was I? I probably just lost it. Is that when it's, I think what I'm trying to say is that once you've got it all clean, you're like, I don't want to say it's completely done, that's for sure, but you're at a point where you can start picking. Okay, here we want to do some, this is a trim here, so I gotta, Okay, now I'm getting to the hand bulge here. Again, we're just rounding. We're just taking, it might be a little more than what we need, but I gave more just in case. Or you can say, well, you know what? He's got a present in his hand in there for you. He's going to take it out. And I want to round it. It's got to be rounded. Can't be no, like I said, no creases. That's why I didn't want to put my V-tool to it. Now this is kind of, like I said, I'm trying to clean, but as we're getting kind of closer to the bottom here, let's get the V-tool to get that out of there. Or I can take one of my little chisels. See, this is one of my, get the heck out of there, chisel. There you go. And we'll get more into the detail of separating the legs a little bit. But when you do clean, make sure that it's rounded. And we'll get more separation of parts. And again, I think I'm getting carried away here. I should just leave it go, leave it go. There's still a little bit of roundness here. And there's going to be a lot of undercut here as we go to bring it. That gives a lot of character because you're going to separate the pants from the coat. And again, here's where you want to use the long cuts because you want to keep this round. It's because there's the behind to the knee to the leg. He is quite caricature. Just take a little bit of that off. Kind of bugs me. And now we're going to do getting on this side. That's going to, oops. I always hate that, the sound of breakage. Again, we will get in there a little later. Enough to cut that out of there. Not, yeah, see if I dig too deep, because when I fix that, that's going to get, that's going to get thinned out a bit, and if I went too deep, that would have went right into the leg, the red part of the suit, the pants. Get a couple more of these out of here, and you want to make sure you cut and not scrape. That's always gets me, and you're cutting and it just scrapes and you're not getting any cut, and it has that weird sound. Sometimes when you have troubles cleaning, and there's these little marks once in a while where there's a mark, it's because it needs to be more scooped and not straight. Oops, crashed into that. But that's okay. That's, I don't want to say semi-imperfect. The tufts, the trim. Again, not too deep, just enough to take chips out. We'll come right back to where we started from. Now before I go on to the footses, feetses, let's just give this a quick, because we're trying to clean it. What we're really doing is we're cleaning the fur off, as it were. We're not shaping or doing anything. All right, get back to the tufts. Nice little scoops. Like I said, that's the way I do it. Now there's some sandas you can just simply cut straight and that's it. And you paint it. And the same with the beard, just straight. Of course, we'll talk about the beard later on. Make it a little more realistic. Awkward place right now. Depends on what kind of details you want to put in. Just in case if I forget, I'll tell you one of the details that you might want to put in. I've done this before. I'll take the pencils, you go down the line, and you do something like this. And you get your V tool in there. You make it furry like that. You can do that. I've done that several times. I got that kind of backwards right here, is I like to have it going away from. Because when he moves his foot, especially if he gets in the snow, that fur will go. So it's like that the other direction. That's one way. One way I've done that. The fur. It looks pretty good. It's, again, tedious. Did we make it all? Oh, I didn't come this way a little bit here. I mean, there's a lot of wood carving that is not difficult, but it's just tedious. I'll take that hunk out of there, but we'll get more out of there later. Let's get back to here, because I want to get that. See, there it is. That's where it scrapes instead of. That's because I did not have a good angle. And of course, I should have just leave this alone. I'll get to it later. I look at something and it just bugs me. Let's get the bigger knife here. Thinner knife. Scoop. Some of that tufts in there. Final cleaning. This is kind of difficult angle. Again, I guess we'll get more in there later. Oh, careful. Another scrape. Oops. Don't bury that tip. I'm going to leave that detailing right there. That's a little bit of detailing. Okay. Last but not least is the foot. The boot, foot, boot. This is kind of difficult to hold on this. Actually, nice long, if you get nice long cuts. Need my bigger knife because I'm coming across here. Because I'm going against the grain here. This is much like the top of the head. See, it's really hard to cut because it's going way against the grain. It's really interesting. I try to figure out the difference between, they say, with the grain and against the grain. I mean, to me, this is with the grain. This is against the grain. While we're at it, let me give this another. Well, I'll clean that up a lot better when we get into more detailing. Stick with the foot. The footsie. Kind of interesting. The difference is the knife loves to cut with the grain and not against the grain. Where the bandsaw, it's different. Against the grain, that's a cross cut. The bandsaw loves to cut this way. But when it comes this way, it's a bit difficult. Make sure you got a relatively sharp blade, because what happens is that when you do it with the grain, it binds the blade. I might be getting carried away here. Because I do want to have that, when we do shape, it's going to, some scraping, when we do shape, I'm going to have that there. Still cleaning. Yeah, sometimes people like to put the carving on the table and push on it. That's relatively fine though, but I like to always hold it, get to that point where you get kind of strong. Your knife handling is stronger, your carving handle is stronger, but I don't want to dig too much because there's a lot that we got to do. And you know what, while we're at it, I don't need that until detail. Oh, where are you? Here. It's getting sick and tired of me always blowing on it. Get a nice little horsehair brush. And when you're done, what really is interesting is using one of those, I don't say Brillo pads, those little 3M Scotch, not Scotch Guard, those, and the green and sponge on the other side. And I do clean them, and that really takes a lot off. I'm going to go back one more time and take a look and make sure all these little snowflakes are off. I'm sure I'll miss a few. I'm going to tilt it so I can see it. Make sure, I mean, I will see them later, you know, especially when I go to the final detailing, checking one last time. Okay, so let me kind of get a little cleanup. Let's get my chisels over here. I'm going to clean up, and then we're going to get into some detailing. Detail step number 1. I always like to start from the feet and work my way up, and then we'll get to the face / beard. And this is relatively, I think itself, with the exception of how we're going to do the hand, this is a relatively easy piece. I mean, it's a little bulky too, you know, might slip out of your hand, but all right, I'm going to take a little break and we'll come back and we're going to start with the feet and work up. Now, moving right along, what I did was I took the saw. You don't have to. You could probably keep them together. Let's bring the, there we go, that's better. And that's what I've done for both of these. For this guy and this guy. Is to separate the feet. You could probably have kept them together. You could have. But I prefer the separation. Excuse me, would be better. Now I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up. Let's start with the feet / shoes. I think I might have to just widen it up just a little bit. Remember the foot do point out a little bit. Now this one you could probably have a little bit of a twist. You could, depending on what kind of, how much wood you got when you cut out or rough out, is like you can have this one turn and this one would be straight. This one would be almost straight, or could have been, and then this one has a nice turn. Usually the one that's out, I think the one that's out has a nice turn. I don't know. Yeah, that's what I think I did with this one, is I think there's just a little bit of turn to it, a little bit of turn to the right on this one. I think I tried it and didn't work very well. I don't know. Anyways, let's get in there, get my big knife. Like I said, now we're cutting, now we're carving. So as I'm shaping, I want to make sure I keep the trim at the same time. Actually, I think I'm pretty lucky. Got a nice piece of wood. I think this batch is a nice batch. So if you're one of the first, I think the rest will be the same. Get some of that saw blade out of there. Now I want to be careful. I'm going to make it a little wider here because and a little wide here because the foot, the trim is going to come down. Whereas I can start shaping the foot here. Where are you? There you are. And start shaping it like the foot is going out that way a little bit. He's still in there. I think when I do the top, that's why it goes up from the camera. Trim, like I said, is coming down, so I want to make sure it comes down. And get out of there, jeez. Like I said, it's winter time. At this time it's January, so he's done for the. Well, he's probably gone out and looked at, probably taking a vacation before he goes out and looks again at the kids to make sure that the kids and the adults are behaving. So we're still shaping. At the same time, instead of rounding this all off. This is probably going to be one of the most difficult parts, is because you got to get in there. I want to say one of the. Of course, when we get to the hand, the face is not that. I mean, if you've seen many of my videos, and if you've already got into the face is pretty. Well, you got to be careful. I think it's more like watch what you're doing, so the face don't turn looking funny or something. but when we're getting the nice, I want to get down. Where's my V tool? If the V tool will help, if you can see in there. I'm going to come down to the back. My V tool is just a little too big. Same with the side here. The V tool is just a little too big until it sort of disappears into the back. If you have it, see it there. Same with this side. Get the thumb out of the way as I'm shaping. Sorry that the V could not get in there. You have to use the knife. Oof. Knife a little longer there. Come back this way. Make sure that the is down like that. The tufts are down. Let's get a little bit of the arch instep in there, arch in there. I think we'll get better when we start cleaning this up here, but I'll at least put the important stuff in first. And then clean later, make sure all the marks are off, saw marks. There's a little bit here. That's what I needed. Needed to shape this a little bit because I want it to match the other one slightly. It's got to be, when in doubt, make it as symmetrical as possible. But trimming it a little bit. Okay. Again, still getting the saw marks off. Getting in there. It's kind of hard to hold this in video at the same time. I mean, if it was on my lap, I could do a better job, but I want to make sure you can see what the heck I'm doing here. Get those little, and at the same time get some more of the marks out. Now, while we're at it, no, I'm gonna save the pencil later. I want to make sure that the tufts and the feet are good. Make sure I get a little bit of twist to it, clean up where the feet and the trim come together. Same with up here. Now I'm starting to, since I'm more happy with what's going on, I am using my, oh, where's my brush? Did I put it back? Well, oh, there it is. It's pretty filthy in there. Oops. Oops, got to put I buried the tip in this ankle there. Now I'm just doing some simple cleaning up here. And I'll probably get more clean up later. I just want to get more into the carving. Now, like I said, give this another little clean. I want to Let's get me one of these here. Kind of rounding so I don't have to get too much of the sharp knife, but a little bit of rounding. But what's going to happen, since he's kind of a stocky guy, and the coat is kind of over his backside, but the thing that's going to be different with different from the front is it's going to come a little bit like this. Take your chisel, or you can do this with your knife, just a little bit of this. Oops, and a little bit of this. I think, no, that's with the, sorry. It's trying to, we cannot, like I said, his backside is, rear end is sort of up there a little bit, but it's supposed to be more of a, no, it's supposed to be more of a this way, no, this way and this way. The other way is it's supposed to be a V, but I think that's covered too. So we don't have to worry too much about it, but I still want to get the saw marks out of there. So moving right along, make sure we got the separation between the tufts and the, make sure we round, make sure it's nice and round. Whatever tool you wish. Same with up here. We're going to get, in fact, that's going to be next as soon as I get this come around here. Make sure things are more cleaned up. Actually, well, let's do this first. We want to dig in here first. This is a little bit what we're going to do under the coat, is because there's some nice good separation between one article of clothing and the other. The foot, like I said, I want to do this scoop right here so the toes are up, but I still want a separation. A harder separation. There's still some more saw marks. I forgot to round this one here, give it more of a arch, inner arch. Oops. Same with on this side. Yeah, there's still some more. And there's also, geez, I gotta do another round. I use this aluminum oxide white powder. I really love it. And it's just a regular leather strap. And again, we wanted some nice separation between the shoe and kind of still shaping the shoe a little bit. I did kind of get away from it. I should just come back and stick with the shoe. Like I said, starting with the bottom, working up. That's one thing about me, is and then I look at something and I'll play with that for a while and no, wait a minute. Still shaping the shoe. I think the shoe might be a little too thick. And also, we want some nice under scoop. Under scoop. As well as getting deeper in. I want to get really deep in there because I think, finger out of the way. Is I think there's more length of that foot than it is on this one here. I'm a little concerned about that. I think we might still be all right because we're going to rely on the fact that he's stepping forward and maybe more shoe is coming out on one than the other. Still a bit of cleaning, a little bit of shaping. Oops. Rounding. One foot does seem a little bigger than the other. Let's make that a little smaller. Still, I want to get to the point where I get done with being underneath here. A little bit of thinning of this will help too. Thinning of the trim. So a little bit of scoop. And of course there'll be more cleaning and more detail little down the road. We come to more cleaning and get out of there. Okay, now like I said, all right, I'm going to move away from this. I'm going to move on. There's quite a bit more detailing and so on as we go, but I want to start doing this, getting underneath. I can only go so far in the front. The front is going to be really a pain, and I might want to leave it that way. But when you show a shadow, it shows a separation. That there really is a separation between the coat and the pants. See that nice shadow? That's if you can. Bring it up to you here. More detailing. Now I want to be careful. I think the V might help me out on this part because this is really, because we're going to do some digging. This is digging V here now. Maybe I should put my cuticle glove on. I want to cut against the, there we go, against the trim because his backside is more solid than the trim, of course. That'll get it started. Same with the front here. Now this is going to really be fun. Now, it depends on how much detail you want to put in this. But I still want some kind of separation between the trim of the coat and his pants. I want to be careful when I get up here, but it's more thicker down here. See how the shadow is already beginning. So let's get with the knife. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of a crotchish kind of area here, kind of just a little bit. Like I said, it's covered. Let's get in here and Careful that knife don't slip when you're, or the carving don't slip while you got your knife is digging. And watching where that, I don't want to get into that pouch. Start getting some of that out of there. I think I may have gotten too wide with my cut. No, I think maybe it's all right. I don't want to spend too much time doing this. You can, if you want, a little bit around in here. I like having that nice separation. Well, let's see if my little number 9 will do that. The little number 9, get in there, get some of that out of there. There we go. Get some of it out of there. Vito. So much for that grain area that I was creating. Again, we'll get more of this in it. We kind of clean it up. I just want to get all these hard, big. See how already it started. Nice separation. That's what you want. Is that nice? Okay, maybe a little bit like this. Oops. Now it's white-breasted nuthatch o'clock. Ooh, it's 11 all of a sudden. Now what I want to do before we leave, I think we could leave, now we can leave this, maybe round it a little more. Yeah, let's get this up. It's got to be up here. Like this. I want to leave it, like I said, other than some cleaning up. And it depends on how far you want his hand to come down. I don't want it to come down too far. Depending on what you want, or you can say he's got a present, or I don't know. But it's better than not having, oops, I'm committed to this here. Get my V-tool to just clean it out. Like I said, I want to kind of move along and come back to cleaning it up later. Now the tuft does not separate from, because the, oh yeah, the two, yeah, hold on. Yeah, this is the pocket, I'm sorry. So the pocket will have a nice sharp, just enough, take your tip. Now you could have, I did not put an extra tuft on the pocket, a pocket tuft, a pocket trim. So I just left it. I think it's, because then you got white on white when you paint, or whatever color you want to use. Now I'll take my pencil, not too sharp there. Where would the knee be as we're leaving? I think I need to fix that a little bit. I'll fix that a little later. I got too much. I think I zoom, start zooming in now that we're getting in details. We can start with a V, just a little bit where the knee is. Yeah, that tuft. I'll clean it a little later. That's getting, I think that's too much. But I'll, like I said, I'll keep moving along here. Yep. So putting a little bit of that in there. Now there's not much detail for the knee in front. I think that's we can leave it like that, because especially when this is in the way, that knee detail is not going to be there. Now before we leave the pants and shoes, one more thing I want to do. I think I might as well do that. So when we're done, we're done. There's a little bit of fur right there. Is I'm going to do the shoe. I'm going to do one of these where kind of toes come up a little bit. Then right about here, just want to clean that a little bit. Right here is where that heel is going to be. Same with on this side. And now it depends on where that rough out, you know, where he holds on to the bottom. Make sure you don't get into that, otherwise your heel will look funny. Let's see if we can, just enough to show a heel. And while we're at it, make sure you get it the last look, because the shoe, I don't want to say the shoe is imperfect. It gets to a point where the shoe does not really, unless you want more detail in it. There's two things I want to do. Is first I'm going to put the sole in, sole and heel. Get your V-tool. About, what is that, about 1/8 of an inch. We'll make sure that it is sharp. I think it is sharp. It's just that being winter is that it just feels like, and it's a good wood. This is a good wood for carving, but its detail is not that great, and you want it to come up. Now there would be a mark with the heel, but you don't have much room for that. So again, 1/8 of an inch. And they come up. Now here, since this toe is up, you want the sole to come up a little bit. And up. And one more thing before we leave the shoe is I want to put a nice little, make sure that this is clean. Again, we'll have to come back and we're getting some sun on there. Sun is coming, and just do one of these little, and you really don't want to use a V-tool because the V-tool is too mechanical. The knife is not more imperfect. And put that little worn out. The shoe's been bent. Let's see what we can do about moving a little forward here, so less sun, because the sun's coming. Here comes the sun. Da, 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 da. Now, I think other than, there's a lot of picking and so on, but I think we're done with the pants on down. A lot of picking. Picking and a grinning. Now let's do the back. The back is probably the more easiest right now. I just want to do something like this. The tufts come out just a little bit, but it's not that sharp. I wonder how this is looking on the video. Yeah, look at the screen, but it's quite a bit different. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to really separate the hand arm from the coat. separate the arm from the coat. See, nice little sharp. Again, we're going to do something like this. Now, while I'm here, I'm going to do a piece of detailing so I don't have to come back. But I might have to come back because, like I said, this arm is thinner than this arm. Where is it? No, it's more in the front. So, okay, so I'm going to do a quick one of these, just like what I did on the shoe. Kind of a little bit of detailing now, so we don't have to come back. And one right here. Quick detailing, so we don't have to come back to the back, but we will, because it's got to be making sure everything is clean. Because the thing that this Santa does not have, it does not have a belt, because I think the belt is a little too, this is a little too high. I'm not sure how I'm going to do the front yet, because I had it separated on the other Santa. But there's quite a bit of wood of how we're going to do that. So generally the back is done with the exception of detail. I can kind of begin the front by taking, now what's going to happen is this is going to come back. Oops, not too much. Or come down, I'm sorry, it's going to come down. That's what's missing on this. That's got too much. I think I did that to leave it to so you can do something else with it. That's what sometimes I leave extra wood, is that you might decide to do something else. And I like to take when I get the chisel, I like to take the flat end when these little hard to get to places. So the arms, there we go, the arms shrunk pretty good. And like I've mentioned before, I'd like to put this kind of a detail in right away. I think I'm going to have to widen it a little bit here, because I am moving around. And put this in, because then now we can round, according to this, the forearm is getting rounded to that crease, and then the top arm is rounding to that crease. So it's not really a detail. It is a detail, but I like to get that in there because it helps round the arm. Again, we need some separation. I think I got to be careful because I think some of that tuft might have to disappear. And a little bit of cleaning here. And quite a bit of separation here. I'm going to take a little bit of a break because I need a break, number one. I'm going to separate the arms from the rest, get that nice shadow, and then reposition everything so the sun isn't pestering us here. And I want to make sure I get underneath here, because we do want that to separate from the pants. And when we do the arm here, whoops, let's get a little bit of, now we only want a little bit of separation with the trim from the rest of the arm. Well, he's in the sun a lot now because that's what he wants. It's that time of year.